our Director of Special Education and Pupil Services in East Troy here. So thank you for coming to join us for World Blue Shirt Day to kick off Bullying Prevention Month. And with me, I have James Dean. He's through Generations Against Bullying, and he's going to introduce our speaker for tonight.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here tonight. We're very happy to be invited in to speak to you. Your program works with creating positive change in your community, and Generations Against Bullying has a very unique and positive program that would fit perfectly in with what Catherine and the rest of the staff here at the school are doing, and it's called Upstanders. And I think the kids probably recognize that term, Upstander. Our whole program is built around Upstanders, and you'll see as we go out through the night why that is so important and why that is such a positive change from handling and tackling bully situations that have been in the past. What we'd like to do is start out and show a 10-minute movie. This movie depicts kids that have been bullied and how it's affected them. The scars from bullying last a lifetime. I was bullied when I was a young kid in first grade. We didn't have kindergarten when I went to school. And I remember his name. His name was Jerome Kazmiski. And I'll say his name here tonight because I know Jerome's not here. But it got so bad, and finally I just got so frustrated that I hauled off and punched him in the stomach as hard as I could, and that stopped it. But that's not what we want to do. That's not a good way to do that. There's more positive ways to work to stop the bullying and how we're treating each other. So I'd like to start that movie. Catherine, would you help us and push the right buttons for us, and we'll turn down the lights, and then we'll move from there. Thank you.
Pain.
Angry. Degrading.
Helpless.
Embarrassed.
Miserable. Lonely.
It hurts more than you know. It all started in 3rd grade when a kid that sat behind me said to me and some other kid that we were some of the fattest kids in the grade.
In the business class I had, I was in the front row. They were writing notes, like demeaning notes, saying, "Oh, I hate you, just go leave, go home."
He started to call me ugly and stuff, and anorexic, and that I was stupid.
I've always had this extreme passion for sticking up for the underdog, so other people decided if I was going to stand up for other people, that they were going to take me down.
In my school, you get talked about if you don't have stuff that other people have, like newest shoes, newest clothes, the best phone or anything. So people like me, it's usually talked about, made fun of, pushed around.
I had a kid who sat next to me who told me that he was going to sneak into my room one night and kill me. This girl said, "Wow, anorexic much? Couldn't she eat more? Could those jeans be any bigger on her?"
I didn't have any friends from kindergarten pretty much until probably 4th or 5th grade. But it was lonely. It was a lonely time for me. Recess was really hard. With no friends. I used to wander around the playground and follow the adult around.
I get scared because I'm worried that when I go to school every day, somebody might make fun of me. I feel like I can't be myself because I'll be made fun of, because people might judge me and think I'm weird.
it's horrible. Made me feel bad at times, like when I'm already down or feeling bad or whatever. And it just makes it even worse.
Sometimes I didn't want to go to school because I was afraid that these kids would keep saying mean stuff to me. He's probably trying to make himself feel better. I don't know about what, but that's the only reason I could think of.
Maybe they have problems also at home and problems at school or wherever else they go, and they just can't put up with it anymore.
I think bullies do this just to make them feel better, feel more powerful about themselves. Maybe they had a past experience where they were bullied about the same thing, and then they changed and they just want to be the bully for themselves.
Most of the time, it's because they want to make themselves look good and want to make them seem like they all cool and stuff. Because they're picking on someone else that they either don't like or is like shorter than them or not as cool as them, I guess.
Either they got bullied, so they turned into the bully, or maybe just home problems and they feel insecure.
I hope that, people start to realize that these people are the weak ones and the people who are being bullied actually are the strong ones.
Bullies always bully because there's something missing inside. I truly believe that. And I would say to the bully that you can find yourself and be happy with yourself without having to bring others down.
Growing up, I was just told, just have thick skin and don't let it get to you. It's just words. Words and thoughts ultimately lead to actions. And I knew that if I eventually didn't mentally stand up for myself, that I was going to fail as a person.
I just think about my friends, because my friends always make me happy. They joke around with me and we laugh about the weirdest stuff.
If they're real friends, they'll help you, and they can maybe get an advisor or something to help the kid that's getting bullied.
Stick up for yourself. Don't be like me to hold it all inside, because that could bring bad things about you and make you feel bad.
If you're still getting bullied, you should stand up, let somebody know, talk to somebody about it. Don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe is right.
Just don't take the feelings in, talk to somebody, because the problem will be solved.
Say if you were the person getting bullied, you're obviously going to feel alone, like no one's going to help you. So you don't want that to be you, so pitch in and help out, and it's going to stop and they're going to appreciate what you did.
You gotta step in and intervene, make sure that the person who's being bullied is alright later in the day, make sure you check on them a little bit, make sure they're not getting picked on any more than what they need to be, and nobody needs to be picked on.
Just, not be afraid to stand up for them and tell the bully that, it's not cool, and they gotta realize that, how the other person is feeling when they're bullying them, and just to stand up for the victim.
This is just this small portion of your life. It's a short period in your life, and you can't let that short period in your life get to you and ruin the whole rest of your life.
Survive. Tell someone if you are capable, but otherwise survive, find better people, and move on.
It's a difficult time for people when they're bullied, but it always makes you stronger. It always makes you stronger. And there's so much hope, because personally for me, I went through all those years with no friends. I went through all those times, those hard times, but I got through it. I gained confidence, and I had no trouble telling other people, this is who I am, And that's when people begin to accept you. When you have confidence in yourself and who you are, then they have no choice but to accept who you are.
So, pretty powerful, pretty positive though. Some good things there. Kids that are being bullied are strong. They go through it every day, and it causes a lot of problems. But with some of the messages that you saw in there, one of the things is start learning how to stand up for yourself. We have a special speaker here for you tonight that kind of ties right into some things that were in the movie. His name is Shay McNamara, and Shay is the owner of a business called Diamond State of Mind. So I'm going to turn it over to Shay for his message to you tonight.
Thank you. How you guys doing today? You guys good? You guys get your dessert? Who here has been bullied before? Different variations of bullying. I'm going to come from the perspective of if someone's not loving someone and they are overly teasing and it's not a friendship way, that to me is bullying. So in theory, all of your hands would be up, right? Some of you have experienced some severity of bullying, hopefully not to the physical degree of what we saw this morning in the media. That is bullying. Now, unjust as it is, and how ridiculous it is, that is a reality, unfortunately, and it's becoming a very much a norm. Where I come from, in my standpoint, is when you're not loving, when you're not respecting, and you're not honoring yourself, you won't think that you're enough, and you'll be hollow from within, and you'll need everything outside yourself for the confidence and justification of verifying why you are enough, or hanging on to something that is bottomless. When somebody says, I believe in you, and then you're like, oh, okay, I believe in myself because they believe in me now. And then all of a sudden, you don't have that belief from that individual, a teacher, a parent, a coach, a friend, anyone else in your life. That same person believes in you and they don't believe in you. And now what do you have? You're back to square one, yourself. So my empowerment to you today is to get it through your mind, not that you didn't know this, but get it through your heart, to remind your loved ones, your little kids, obviously yourself and other peers, is to love who you are, love all the things that you've been born into, raised into, all the experience you've had. Turn all those experiences, whether it was good, bad, ugly, into a blessing. It's very hard. It's very hard because we've all been hurt many times over. More times by ourselves than other people, but when we do have other people, we want to have revenge. And I was raised Catholic, and Jesus, his famous words was, turn the other cheek, right? Maybe some of you guys can relate to that or not. And typically it means don't retaliate, right? But on a deeper level, it means don't go into the frequency of the vibration of the energy that that individual is putting you to, right? And the only person that you're going, now you guys are all parents, right? People that you go into the frequency with a little too much might be your husband or your wife, right? As I do. So when they're in an issue, when they have an issue, when they have problems, it's become my problem because I'm attached to them. I love them dearly. And as much as it has nothing to do with me, what they're going through on a daily basis with their boss or their fellow employees or their fellow, just friends, it is my business because if they're down, the energy in the room, the energy in a relationship is going to be down as well, right? And so by being an upstander to my wife or with my wife and anyone what I care about. It's just a reminder that they don't need to hang out on and hang on to, obviously, them. And it's so hard to say that because they go, well, what do you mean I keep on getting made fun of? I keep on getting invalidated. I don't get any respect or love or even honor for all the hard work I do from my boss. There's no validation. Or if it is, it's like almost like a backhand compliment. I think you guys can all relate a little bit, yeah? And you think about where that is and where that individual stands. It's two forms of confidence. There's the confidence that's like childlike, like some of these little kids. You guys persevere through anything and everything. You guys will fall and you get up and you keep going. You imagine another dream, another aspect of what you're trying to achieve, and you go after it and you keep doing it, keep going, and keep going. Versus the outside in, which is the illusion of ego, sense of self, what my status quo is compared to everything else outside of myself, outside of my interpretation of who I authentically am to me. I've then become influenced by that win, that result. Was it a positive or negative experience? And since everything is neutral and you give it meaning, even if it was a win or if it was a loss, you are going to be determined and dictated by the label that you put on it, or that specific individual that keeps on degrading you, or not being a bystander, but being an upstander and helping support you. Then you become, relying on them as your kickstand. What happens? You're still not fulfilling you within your heart. So when I say the love, if you can turn everything into a blessing, then in theory you're disempowering anything outside of you, and you're empowering everything within, so you can continue being on your path to your own unique brilliance that you're trying to achieve. When it comes to respecting yourself and respecting who you are and where you've been and who's raised you and who's helped be in your circles, whether you liked it or not, or having that teacher, the idea behind everything is when you have the ability to understand what it takes and understand where you are and understand that somebody else might be going through some serious pain, just as we saw in the video. We don't know what's going on. There's probably some of you in this room that have been avoiding some issues in your life that you need to confront, and vice versa to your kids. They might be having some situations where you don't want them to confront what is because it might hurt too much. So you're overly protecting them, rightly so, because you're mama bear, you're daddy bear, and you're going to do everything you can to protect. But what I will challenge you parents is if you have the ability to understand and respect the fact that they're going to have highs and lows just as you did, and going back to the experience that everything is a blessing, trust yourself, and more importantly, trust your kids that they're going to figure out a way to persevere and to figure it out just like those kids did in the video. And it's easier said than done. I'm fully aware. I have no emotional attachment to any of the situations that you might have in your mind or through your peers or your friends that are going through some situations. But if you can, remind them, remind yourself that all these experiences that they're having is going to help them be the person that they're going to be, and that it truly is a blessing. Help empower them by allowing them to fight their own battles, not literally fight, that might not be the right word, but the idea is to help them, empower them with ways of going about it, and that's obviously what we do here with our program. When it comes to honoring, there's so many times when we succumb to the results, don't we? Or we feel like, this isn't for us, this isn't for me. You think back, I used this silly example, a very elementary example of a little kid or a little baby, trying to crawl. How many times do they fail? Many times. They don't say this isn't for me. Just like when we have our own personal careers that we start off, we originally start at ground zero, 0% of your full potential to 100%, and what's going to happen? Is it just going to happen overnight? Well, we all wish, right? Because we'd all be multi-billionaires and have all this, that, whatever, right? But if we think about all the results that are going to happen and all the things that are going to happen throughout the way of building friendships, making peers, making new friends in a different community, experiencing the ins and outs of what will be, then in theory, we're going to honor the fact that it's not going to be smooth, and we're going to persevere just a little bit more. And again, you might all know this, and in theory, we all should know this, right? But the reminder is with you guys, with your sons and daughters, and even for these little ones that are paying attention, if they're paying attention, to remind them of the empowerment they have within themselves and to not rely on the illusion of outside influences dictating and being the circumstance of their identity. So when you think about all of what has happened with whoever that individual was in Vegas just yet last night, could you say that he was probably, we don't know the situation, but let's just take for face value. Was he a happy camper? Probably not. He probably has some issues with whatever, whether he was mentally ill or had a diagnosis or created some diagnosis within himself. The idea was he wasn't in a loving state. He might have accepted himself as a loving state, but that's after his true self basically submitted and said, well, this is the way it is, this is how it's going to be, whatever. And it's pretty real to say that, but the truth is, how often do we conform to the outside? How often do we conform to just being, well, it's validated, I didn't get a good grade, or that person didn't give me this, or this might not be for me. And you stop giving 100%, then you're not being courageous like a kid. You're not being courageous as your heart lifestyle is. You're being a coward to who you are. You're not honoring yourself anymore. And if you think about all bullies, which we all are, we've all bullied ourselves many times over, maybe twice or 3 times today myself. You go, what is this for? What illusion? What lie am I telling myself? What am I accepting of myself that's not from here, but it's from here? It's logic. What is it? And so when you think back and when you teach your son and daughter when they have to go through, obviously what they have to go through in their own life, you have to remind them of, this is going to be a unique situation, you're going to go through some unique experiences, and whatever they go through, as long as they have themselves and they rely and they trust themselves and they believe in themselves and they have faith that they're eventually going to get there, then they are going to be free. They're going to be unbreakable on their path to their own brilliance. And all the times when we don't, we struggle, we doubted ourselves, and we weren't our own best friends, just put it easy way. What happened? We bullied ourselves, we probably lashed out on our significant other, or our mom or dad, or our little kids, or whatever it may be. And I'm not proud of myself when I've done that throughout my entire life against my mom, in particular, who helped raise me. I mean, I'm not proud of that. But if we're all brutally honest with ourselves, we're not proud of when we do that to our loved ones. And yet we expect some strange kid or strange individual or some strange boss that we don't know yet to give us the same love and respect and honor. It's just not going to happen. But what we can do is remind ourselves of the empowerment that we don't have to fall for the illusion of outside circumstances determining our identity of who we look at ourselves in. When we look in the mirror and we go, is this really who I am? Maybe, if that's where I'm at right now, but that's not where I'm going to go, because tomorrow I'm going to get better, assuming that I give 100%. But so often we see so many individuals accept their fate of outside circumstances and going, well, this isn't for me. I'll always be a minimum wage worker. I just don't, or I'll never make the starting lineup, or whatever. And you've seen it all over. So the first part is purely empowering yourself, so you understand exactly what's going on when we bully ourselves and we bully our loved ones, and obviously bully, unfortunately, other people. And we've all been guilty of that. And we've also been guilty of being the victim too. Sometimes playing victim on that perspective, but at the same time, the real stuff that we're here to talk about is empowering our individual son or daughters so that they understand what it takes to help them persevere and be strong. And essentially, it's the same principles of what I just said earlier, and obviously I can go down more, but the intent is if you can remind them that there is no, how do I put this? When you disempower all the pressure out on somebody else by forgiving them, by thanking them, and by blessing them, you are free. If you think about it, you all have interpretation of me right now, whether it's good, bad, ugly, I don't know, but it's not affecting me. So it's only affecting you within yourself and how you're seeing, how you're feeling right now. And without going into detail about everything, because we're going to have Q&A in a second, the intent behind everything I'm saying is if you can teach your son or daughter to turn the other cheek, understand violence and retaliation is never the way, but most importantly, to allow themselves to stay their own path by disarming anything outside themselves that's trying to get within them, by loving, respecting, and honoring them, by giving them peace, by giving them a blessing, whether they literally say it to them or not, or they hold it within. There's no amount of pressure, there's no amount of weight on their shoulders that's going to hold them back. And that's really what we're here for, right? We don't want our kids or our loved ones to be held back by outside circumstances. So again, if you love, respect, and honor yourself, you know you're enough, you sure as heck are not going to affect other people based on your interpretation of what it is. And so, without further ado, I mean, I can obviously speak on a bunch of other things, but this is all about you guys. This isn't about me teaching or anything like that. Is there somebody who has either a question or statement or something that's been a trend that you feel that has been an issue within either like the community or within your own family, friends that you guys have been speaking about as far as from your own peers? Has there been any issues with bullying or your son or daughters not having the courage to either stand up for themselves or keep on persevering to not succumb to the outside results like a bad test grade or not starting in a game or not getting the #1 role in acting or whatever the play is that's coming up? Is there anybody that have any questions?
Thank you, Shade. The message is you do have the power. You have the power. You have the power. And you have the power. What does that mean, I have the power? It's all about being an upstander. Bullying's been going on for generations. That's why we call ourselves Generations Against Bullying. It happened to prior generation, it's happening now, and it's going to happen in the future. We just hoping to lessen those bullying situations in the future. We found a key statistic. This is really important, and that's why your school is working with upstanders. When a bystander to bullying, somebody watching it, becomes an upstander in a non-threatening way, the bullying will stop in 10 seconds, 85% of the time. Do the teachers see bullying? No. Does bullying occur in front of the administrators? No. Does it occur in front of the counselors? No. Does it occur in front of the parents? No. Where's it occurring? It's occurring in the student population. It's occurring in your grades. So the power to stop it is where it's occurring. So our program turns it all around and said, you guys have the power to stop it. You don't like seeing bullying, do you? Nobody likes to see that. The problem is how do you address it? How do you add to it when you see it? That's the problem. It was a problem when I grew up too, because when I saw, other than me being bullied, when I saw it, I just kind of wanted to walk away from it because I didn't know what to do. Don't worry about not knowing what to do. Do something in a nice way. Sometimes it's just a matter of saying to your friend and leading your friend away from the bullying. Just as easy as that. If you see bullying or you're being bullied, just kind of smile and walk away. If you walk away, the bully has no audience. That's pretty simple things to do. But that's what our whole program is designed. And one of the problems, the biggest problem, the problem is getting worse, even though there are all kinds of different programs out there. This program our program is very effective. Bullycide